Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we were taking a crucial look, really, at the control center of your entire existence, the brain. I mean, in our modern reality, and let's face it, it's defined by perpetual stress, endless notifications, just information overload. Your brain, the organ, doing all the heavy lifting for complex thought, memory, emotions, every single decision you make, it's constantly running at redline.
It really is. And that constant demand, well, it means we can't really afford to fuel it passively anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we're demanding supercomputer performance, right?
Yeah.
But too often, our nutritional input is, well, it's the equivalent of dial-up internet.
Ah, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So the mission for this deep dive is basically to cut through all that noise. We've extracted and synthesized the data from a whole range of sources to deliver what's essentially a nutritional cheat sheet. These are the top 10 foods that the sources consistently point to as premium, high-octane fuel. They're designed to actively boost memory, sharpen concentration, fight off that mental fatigue, and maybe most importantly, provide foundational long-term protection against serious cognitive decline, like Alzheimer's.
So we're building the ultimate blueprint, really, for sustained mental function.
Yeah.
And it's tailored for you, the learner, who needs that high-impact knowledge fast. This is about making smart, targeted choices. Choices that have a real, measurable neurological effect.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. So I guess we have to start with the basics, right? The fundamental architecture of the brain, its literal building blocks.
Absolutely. If you want to optimize performance for anything, you first have to secure the structural integrity of the thing itself.
Makes sense.
And this is, honestly, often the most overlooked part of brain nutrition. People think about energy, but not structure. And here's the astonishing fact. Nearly 60% of the dry weight of your brain is fat.
60%. Wow.
Yeah. So if you want robust cell walls, if you want rapid communication between neurons, you have to provide these premium foundational fats. It's non-negotiable.
And according to the sources we looked at, the number one, like the absolute non-negotiable foundation in this category, it's fatty fish. We're talking mainly cold water types. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, trout. Why? Why do these specific fish hold such a dominant, almost irreplaceable position for the brain's structure?
Okay, so it really boils down entirely to omega-3 fatty acids. Specifically, there are two key types we need to focus on: DHA and EPA.
DHA and EPA.
Got it. Now, they're called essential fatty acids for a reason. Your body, and critically your brain, it just can't make them from scratch. You absolutely have to get them from your diet. And DHA, that's docosahexaenoic acid.
Whoa, okay. DHA is easier.
Right, let's stick with DHA. It's the undisputed king of structural fats for the brain. Remember that 60% fat figure?
Yeah.
Well, half of that fat in your brain is comprised of omega-3s, and DHA is overwhelmingly concentrated in the gray matter.
So the gray matter, that's like the command center, right? Where the thinking, deciding, feeling happens, the operational headquarters.
Precisely. That's where the complex stuff happens. So if we aren't consuming enough DHA, we are literally structurally compromising our brain cells. It's that fundamental.
Wow. Okay, so how does it work? What's the mechanism?
Well, DHA is responsible for building the actual physical membranes around every single brain cell. It makes those cell walls fluid, permeable, responsive, think flexible.
Yeah.
And that fluidity is absolutely essential for ensuring rapid and efficient communication between neurons. It's like, well, the source material uses this analogy. Omega-3s are like the oil keeping highly complex neurological machinery running smoothly without friction.
That makes a lot of sense. Less friction, faster processing. What about the other one, EPA? You said DHA and EPA. Does EPA build stuff too?
EPA, that's eicosapentaenoic acid. It doesn't get as much attention as a builder, no, but it plays a really crucial complementary role. EPA is basically the anti-inflammatory superhero in this duo.
Anti-inflammatory. For the brain.
Yes. While DHA is building the structure, EPA is calming the environment around it. Chronic low-grade inflammation in the brain is now understood to be one of the biggest drivers of age-related cognitive decline.
Right, you hear about inflammation everywhere now.
And for good reason, especially here. EPA actively reduces that systemic inflammation. It provides a healthier, less stressed environment for those DHA-built structures to function optimally and, frankly, to survive long-term. And the studies back this up. Regular consumers of fatty fish, according to the research we reviewed, demonstrably have less brain inflammation and get this larger volumes of gray matter.
Larger. So they're literally preserving their brain infrastructure just by eating fish regularly.
That's what the evidence points towards. They are essentially slowing down that age-related shrinkage.
Okay, but I know what some listeners are thinking, including maybe our learner profile.
Yeah.
What if you just hate fish?
Yeah, that's common.
If I don't eat salmon, can I just load up on, say, flaxseed or walnuts? I hear they have omega-3s. Do those plant sources cover it? Is the structural deficit really that big a deal if I rely on those?
That is a critically important question, and it really brings in some necessary nuance. So yes, plant sources like walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, they contain ALA, alpha-linolenic acid.
ALA, okay.
ALA is an omega-3, and it's beneficial. The body can technically convert some ALA into DHA and EPA. But, and this is the crucial part, the conversion process is incredibly inefficient for most people.
How inefficient?
Often less than 5%. Some studies suggest it might even be lower, like 1% for DHA. So while ALA sources are definitely good for your overall health, great additions to the diet, if you are specifically looking to secure that structural DHA foundation for your brain, particularly for maintaining that crucial gray matter, well, the sources are quite clear. Fatty fish remains the most direct, potent, and reliable route.
So that structural deficit is real. If you're only eating plant sources, you need a lot of flax to maybe get close.
You would, or you'd need to look at specific algae-based supplements that contain preformed DHA and EPA. But just relying on ALA from nuts and seeds alone, it's unlikely to bridge that structural gap effectively.
Okay, that sets a really clear priority then. Fish first, or maybe algae supplements if fish is a no-go. All right, moving from the infrastructure itself to the internal messaging system. The second food we're unpacking is eggs, called the communication catalyst. What specialized tools do eggs bring to the table for the brain?
Eggs are considered foundational in many sources because of the really specialized nutrients they pack in. You get a powerful array of B vitamins, specifically B6, B12, and folate, and perhaps most importantly for communication, choline.
Choline. Okay, I've heard of that, but it doesn't get talked about as much as, say, vitamin D or calcium.
It really doesn't, and it's a shame because it's so vital for the brain. Choline is essentially the raw material your brain uses to manufacture one of its most critical chemical messengers, acetylcholine.
Acetylcholine, okay, the messenger. What specific jobs does it handle in the command center? What does it do?
It's absolutely vital for several key functions. Think mood regulation, immediate memory consolidation. You know, that ability to hold a piece of information in your mind just long enough to actually use it.
Like remembering a phone number someone just told you.
Exactly. And also general mental clarity. Think about acetylcholine deficiency. That feeling isn't just vague tiredness. It often manifests as that really frustrating brain fog.
Ugh, yeah, know that feeling.
Difficulty retrieving information quickly, trouble maintaining focus, especially during demanding mental tasks. Sufficient choline gives your brain the ability to rapidly manufacture the chemical that literally helps clear that fog.
So if your communication system is sluggish because it lacks the raw materials, your cognitive performance just drops off immediately. Makes sense. And the B vitamins in eggs, how do they fit into this picture?
The B vitamins, B6, B12, folate, they act more like the brain's waste disposal and protection team. They are key players in helping to regulate and reduce levels of an amino acid called homocysteine.
Homocysteine, okay. Sounds vaguely chemically.
It's a naturally occurring amino acid. Everyone has it. But when its levels get too high in the bloodstream, often because of inadequate B vitamin intake, it essentially becomes neurotoxic. It damages blood vessel linings, including those in the brain.
Not good.
Definitely not good. High homocysteine levels are strongly correlated in the scientific literature with an increased risk of dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and just general cognitive decline over time.
Wow, so eggs are giving us this dual benefit, building better, faster communication pathways through choline, and at the same time protecting those pathways from toxic buildup using the B vitamins.
Precisely. It's a really neat package. And just one more practical point for our learner who's maybe focused on immediate productivity. The sources consistently point out that starting your day with a protein-rich breakfast that includes eggs, especially when compared to, say, a high-sugar cereal or just toast, provides significantly enhanced focus and sustained mental energy throughout the morning hours. Less of that mid-morning lump.
Good tip. Okay, third structural component, avocados. Now, unlike fish and eggs, which seem focused on the neuron itself, the sources frame avocados around optimizing the delivery system, blood flow, Tell me about that.
Yeah, you've got it. The brain is just relentlessly hungry. It's amazing. It only counts for maybe 2% of your body's weight, but it guzzles down about 20% of the oxygen and calories you consume.
20%, that's huge.
It's incredibly metabolically active. So if the blood flow, which is the delivery pipeline for all that oxygen and all those nutrients, if that's compromised even slightly, everything starts to slow down. Performance drops. Avocados are particularly rich in monounsaturated fats.
Monounsaturated fats. Okay, we hear about different fats, saturated, unsaturated, polyunsaturated. Why are these ones so good for keeping that brain delivery line open?
Well, think about the contrast. Saturated fats, when you consume them in excess over long periods, can contribute to plaque buildup in arteries, making them stiffer and narrower, essentially turning that high-pressure delivery system into a more sluggish, clogged pipeline.
Right. Bad for the heart, bad for the brain.
Exactly. Monounsaturated fats, on the flip side, seem to help keep blood vessels flexible, elastic, and clear. They actively promote vasodilation, that's the widening of blood vessels, and support strong, healthy blood flow to the brain. This ensures maximum, unimpeded delivery of oxygen and all those vital nutrients to every single neuron.
Okay, so it's about keeping the pipes wide open and flowing freely.
Pretty much. And there's another aspect. These fats are also highly effective at crossing the blood-brain barrier, the protective shield around the brain, so they can directly nourish brain cells too.
That makes sense. You often hear that poor circulation can impact things like executive function planning, decision-making, impulse control. So getting that full surge of oxygen likely boosts our capacity for complex thought.
It really seems to translate to immediate performance enhancement, essentially through logistical excellence, getting the supplies where they need to go efficiently. And avocados bring a couple of other helpers too. They provide vitamin K and folate.
We mentioned folate with eggs.
Yeah.
And vitamin K.
Vitamin K plays a role in blood clotting, which helps prevent dangerous clots that could obstruct flow, so it helps keep the plumbing clean, so to speak. And folate, as we touched on, is crucial for overall neural health, cell repair, DNA synthesis. It provides important secondary nourishment to the brain cells themselves. So avocados are doing double duty, protecting the delivery system and nourishing the cells.
Protect and nourish.
Mm.
Nice combo. Okay, our fourth food in this foundational structural category, nuts. The sources highlight them for providing, quote, antioxidant armor and slowing age. What makes nuts such an ideal portable brain defender?
Well, nuts generally provide this excellent trifecta.
Yeah.
You get more healthy fats, mostly monounsaturated like avocados, plus powerful antioxidants, and often high levels of vitamin E.
Vitamin E, but what's its specific job here?
Vitamin E is really the heavy lifter when it comes to the slowing age part. Its primary role is acting as a potent antioxidant that specifically protects cell membranes from oxidative stress.
Oxidative stress. That's damage from free radicals, right?
Exactly. Free radicals are unstable molecules produced as a natural byproduct of metabolism, but also from things like pollution, stress, just aging itself. They basically run around stealing electrons from healthy cells, causing damage. Vitamin E steps in and neutralizes these free radicals, specifically protecting the fatty outer layers of brain cells. By buffering this constant stress, vitamin E effectively helps put the brakes on the natural aging process within the brain.
So it's like cellular rust proofing.
That's a great way to think about it. And we mentioned ALE earlier with the fish alternatives discussion. Walnuts got a special mention there. How do they stand out compared to, say, almonds or cashews, specifically for the brain?
Yeah, walnuts often get the spotlight. It's funny, they even look a bit like a tiny brain, right?
They really do.
And their nutritional profile kind of reinforces that link. Walnuts stand out because they contain the highest concentration of ALA, that plant-based omega-3 precursor of pretty much any common nut.
Ah, okay. So even though the conversion to DHEE is low, right, even with that low conversion rate, getting a consistent intake of ALA from walnuts provides the best possible plant-derived support for brain structure, memory, and overall neuron function. If you're not eating fatty fish, walnuts are probably your next best bet from a nut perspective for getting some of that specific type of fatty acid building block. They're like the best non-fish insurance policy you can get from a plant source.
And the evidence for nuts in general, it's pretty solid, right? It's not just theoretical benefits.
Oh, absolutely. The sources point to numerous longitudinal studies tracking people over many years that consistently show individuals who regularly incorporate a handful of nuts into their diet. And we're not talking huge amounts, maybe just 1.5 ounces a day.
Like a small handful.
Exactly. Those people score measurably higher on cognitive function tests, memory, processing speed, things like that, and they experience a significantly slower rate of age-related mental decline compared to people who rarely eat nuts. It's really compelling evidence for simple, consistent, easy maintenance for decades of brain use.
Okay, so we've spent a good chunk of time on building the physical structure of the fats, the cell membranes, and optimizing the logistics, the blood flow.
Yeah.
Now we need to pivot to defense. Because as you pointed out, the brain is constantly under attack, isn't it? From free radicals, pollution, even just metabolic waste from thinking hard.
That's right. It's a high-energy organ, and that creates byproducts. So we need foods that actively fight back against that wear and tear, against deterioration.
So this next section is about the protectors.
Exactly. This is where we introduce the brain's proactive internal security force. These next three foods don't primarily focus on building. Their main job is to defend and repair, ensuring that the structure we just talked about building stays resilient over the long haul.
Got it. And leading the defense charge, according to the sources, we have the small but mighty blueberry, dedicated apparently to neutralizing toxins.
Blueberries are almost legendary in the nutrition world, and for good reason. They are renowned for their extraordinarily high antioxidant load, specifically a subgroup of powerful antioxidants called flavonoids, particularly anthocyanins, which give them that deep blue color.
Flavonoids, okay.
The sources often refer to them quite aptly as the natural defense team. Now, to really understand why they're so important, you have to realize that free radicals, those unstable molecules we mentioned, generated by stress, toxins, normal metabolism, they're constantly on the prowl for electrons, and they'll steal them right from your brain cell membranes if they can, causing damage. This damage accumulates over time, leading to things like memory loss and reduced processing speed.
Okay, so the flavonoids in blueberries step in.
They step in and basically offer themselves up. They act as sacrificial defenders. They have extra electrons they can donate, neutralizing the free radicals before those radicals can attack and damage the crucial fatty parts of the neuron membranes. They quench the fire, essentially.
So they take the hit, protecting the brain cells.
Precisely. They neutralize oxidative stress. And there's even evidence suggesting these antioxidants can cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate directly in areas of the brain critical for learning and memory, like the hippocampus. This concentrates the protective effect right where it's needed most.
Is there specific research backing this up?
Oh, yes. One often cited study comes from Tufts University. It demonstrated a clear link. Older adults who consumed blueberries regularly showed significantly improved performance on tests measuring memory retention and the ability to learn new information compared to those who didn't.
So it's a pretty simple, targeted way to help minimize that day-to-day damage that just naturally accumulates from living in a modern, often stressful world.
It really is. And it's an investment that pays long-term dividends for cognitive health. Simple, yet powerful.
Okay, powerful little defenders. Next up, we move to leafy green vegetables, pegged as the brain's armor for resilience. So we're talking spinach, kale, broccoli, collard greens, the usual suspects. These seem to provide a really complex blend of long-term protection, right?
They absolutely do. Leafy greens deliver just an immense payload of various brain-protective micronutrients. The key players highlighted in the sources are vitamin K, lutein, folate, which we've mentioned, and beta-carotene. It's a real powerhouse combination.
Okay, we touched on vitamin K with avocados helping blood flow. How does it contribute to the armor aspect here?
Well, beyond the clotting factor, vitamin K is also involved in synthesizing sphingolipids, which are specific types of fats that are densely packed into brain cell membranes and especially into the myelin sheath.
Myelin sheath, that's the insulation on the nerve fibers, right?
Exactly. Think of myelin as the insulation on a high-speed electrical wire. The thicker and healthier that insulation, the faster and clearer the electrical signals your thoughts can travel down the nerve. So vitamin K contributes directly to maintaining the speed and clarity of our cognitive processing by supporting that crucial insulation.
Interesting. So greens help keep our thoughts fast and clear. But what about the direct defense against damage?
Okay, that's where lutein and beta-carotene really shine. Lutein is a carotenoid, an antioxidant primarily famous for eye health, right? Protecting the retina.
Yeah, you hear about it from macular degeneration.
Right. But emerging research shows it also accumulates in the brain. And once there, it exhibits a powerful capacity to localize in neural tissues, where it directly protects against age-related cognitive decline, likely by neutralizing oxidative damage, similar to the flavonoids in blueberries, but perhaps through slightly different mechanisms. Beta-carotene acts similarly as a potent antioxidant protecting cell structures.
Okay, so multiple layers of defense. Now, this brings us to probably the most compelling, maybe even shocking statistic that came up repeatedly in our sources regarding leafy greens, and it's often referred to as the 11-year difference. This really warrants a deeper look. Can you unpack that for us?
Yes. This is really fascinating stuff. It comes primarily from a major study conducted at Rush University in Chicago. It was a longitudinal observational study, which is important because it means researchers track the diets and cognitive health of thousands of older adults over many, many years.
So real people, real lives, long-term data.
Exactly. And what they found was just astounding. The participants who reported consuming at least one serving of leafy green vegetables every single day.
Just one serving, like a salad.
Yes, roughly one serving, like a cup raw or half a cup cooked. Those individuals had brain function measured by a battery of cognitive tests that was equivalent to someone who was, on average, 11 years younger than the participants who rarely or never ate leafy greens.
11 years, wait, just let that sink in. That's not a small marginal gain. That's a monumental difference in cognitive aging, seemingly just from consistent daily intake of grains.
It's truly remarkable. It fundamentally transforms how we should view something as simple as a daily salad or some cooked spinach. It's not just a healthy side dish anymore. The evidence suggests it's functioning like preventative anti-aging medicine specifically for the brain.
That really validates the whole concept we're discussing, that consistent structural support and, critically, this daily defensive shield can radically change the trajectory of cognitive aging.
It does. It tells us that the brain is incredibly responsive to these nutrient payloads. When you consistently supply things like vitamin K for structure and these powerful antioxidants like lutein and beta-carotene daily, the neural tissues just become profoundly more resilient against the wear and tear, the oxidative stress, the inflammation that are inevitably associated with aging. It's building resilience from the inside out.
11 years younger functionally. That's wow. Okay, our seventh defender, rounding out this section, oranges, the vitamin C powerhouse. Now, most people, myself included, probably associate vitamin C mainly with, fighting colds, boosting immunity. How does it specifically step up to defend the brain?
That's a common association, and it's true. Vitamin C is vital for immune function, but it's also listed in numerous sources as one of the most critical antioxidants, specifically for cerebral health. The brain, because of that intense metabolic activity and high oxygen use we talked about.
Right, the 20% oxygen consumption.
Exactly. It generates a huge amount of free radicals just as a byproduct. It's highly susceptible to oxidative damage. Vitamin C is a potent, water-soluble antioxidant that circulates widely and is found in high concentrations in the brain, where it actively protects the delicate structure of neurons and other brain cells against this free radical onslaught. It plays a really pivotal role in preventing overall mental decline linked to oxidative stress.
Okay, so direct cellular protection. But doesn't it also have another crucial function? One that actually moves it from just defense back towards production, maybe linking back to our earlier discussion on communication, like with eggs and choline.
Absolutely. This is its vital dual role. Vitamin C isn't just a passive defender, it's also a required cofactor, like a necessary helper molecule for the synthesis of several key neurotransmitters, most notably dopamine and serotonin.
Dopamine and serotonin. Okay, those are the big ones for mood and motivation, right?
Precisely. Dopamine is crucial for governing motivation, focus, learning, the reward system, and aspects of executive function. Serotonin is famously linked to regulating mood, feelings of well-being, happiness, and also sleep cycles. Your brain literally cannot efficiently manufacture these critical chemical messengers if your vitamin C intake is insufficient.
Whoa. So if you're low on vitamin C, it's not just that your antioxidant defenses are weaker, but your actual capacity for feeling motivated, focused, and even happy could be diminished, simply because the factory doesn't have a key ingredient to make those feel-good chemicals.
That's the connection the science suggests. It's an essential catalyst for both protection and production. And the beauty of it, from a practical standpoint, is that getting enough is usually quite achievable. The sources often point out that a single medium orange can supply your entire recommended daily intake of vitamin C.
One orange. That's pretty easy.
It is. And for those who maybe aren't huge orange fans or want variety, the sources highlight other excellent options. Kiwi fruit are packed with it, bell peppers, especially red ones, are surprisingly high, and strawberries are another great source, so you can easily secure that daily dose of brain resilience and mood-supporting potential.
All right, so we've built the house with fats and structural supports, and we've armored it with antioxidants from berries, greens, and vitamin C. Now, we look at the foods and drinks that provide more immediate and also sustained performance enhancements. These are the cognitive boosters, the things that help us focus, learn new stuff, and stay alert during demanding tasks.
Exactly. This section is really about enhancing cognitive performance in the moment, but also, interestingly, about supporting the brain's amazing ability to change, adapt, and form new connections throughout life, a process we call neuroplasticity.
Okay, let's start with one that many people will be happy to see on the list. Dark chocolate. Specifically, the sources emphasize 70% cocoa or higher. It's categorized as a, quote, delicious pathway to plasticity, and apparently backed by a powerful triple threat. What's the threat?
The triple threat components are flavonoids, similar to blueberries but different types, a moderate dose of caffeine, and just a general high load of antioxidants.
Okay.
We already know the antioxidants fight stress, and the caffeine provides that familiar gentle lift and alertness. But the real magic, especially for immediate cognitive boost and potentially plasticity, seems to come from the specific flavonoids found in cocoa. These compounds are known to be powerful vasodilators.
Vasodilators,
Yeah.
meaning they open up the blood vessels. So we're back to improving that delivery system again, like with avocados.
Exactly. These cocoa flavonoids have been shown to significantly improve cerebral blood flow. They relax the walls of blood vessels, allowing more blood and therefore more oxygen and glucose, brain fuel, to reach critical areas of the brain, particularly those involved in learning, memory processing, and attention.
So you can acute boost like better focus and maybe quicker memory retrieval right after eating some.
That's the short-term effect many studies show, better performance on cognitive tasks shortly after consumption. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Uh-oh, I like the sound of that.
The sources, including some pretty compelling research, suggest that regular dark chocolate consumption might do more than just provide a temporary boost. It might fundamentally improve the brain's capacity to learn and adapt. We're moving beyond just temporary focus now.
Into plasticity. How?
We are talking about neuroplasticity, yes. The research, and this includes a key study that was published in the prestigious journal Nature Neuroscience, suggests that consistent intake of high flavanol cocoa, the kind you get in dark chocolate with 70% plus cocoa content, can actually promote better brain plasticity.
Wow.
Remember, plasticity is the mechanism by which your brain physically rewires itself. It forms new neural pathways, strengthens existing ones, basically how it learns and remembers new things throughout your entire life. It seems that by increasing the efficiency of blood flow, delivering more nutrients, and providing high antioxidant protection all at once, these cocoa flavonoids help create a more fertile environment, physiologically speaking, for neurogenesis, making new neurons, so this is limited in adults, and particularly synaptogenesis, the crucial process of forming new connections, new synapses between existing neurons.
So I'm not just feeling more alert after that square of dark chocolate. My physical brain might actually be getting better at processing and storing new information if I eat it regularly. That's incredible.
That's the potential long-term benefit the research is exploring. It's quite profound.
But, okay, practical question. If I want that plasticity benefit, do I really need to suffer through like 90% super bitter cocoa?
Yeah.
Is 70% enough? And how much is too much, considering sugar and calories?
Yeah, that's always the balance question with something enjoyable like chocolate. Generally, the benefits scale with the cocoa percentage because that's where the beneficial flavonoids are concentrated. Milk chocolate has very little.
Right.
The 70% minimum threshold is often recommended because it ensures a decent payload of flavonoids while still being generally palatable for most people. Going higher, say to 85% or even 90%, definitely increases the potency of the flavonoids, but yes, you also often get less sugar, which is good, but the bitterness increases. As for quantity, moderation is absolutely key. We're not talking about eating a whole bar every day. The research suggests that a small, consistent dose, maybe just 1 or 2 small squares daily, is likely sufficient to reap the potential protective and plasticity-promoting benefits without overloading on sugar or calories. Think of it as a small daily investment, not a binge.
A tasty investment. Okay. Moving to our penultimate item, number 9, coffee. Subtitled, The Science of Sustained Alertness. Probably the world's most popular psychoactive compound. Tell us scientifically, why do the sources confirm it really is effective brain fuel?
Well, the primary mechanism everyone knows is caffeine, but how caffeine works is quite clever. It's not actually giving you energy like calories do. It's more like an intelligent chemical trickster.
A trickster, how so?
It works primarily by acting as an antagonist, a blocker for a neurotransmitter called adenosine. Adenosine naturally builds up in your brain throughout your waking hours. As more adenosine binds to its specific receptors, it signals fatigue and promotes sleepiness. It's your brain's natural time to wind down signal.
Okay, makes sense. So caffeine comes along.
And caffeine has a molecular structure very similar to adenosine. So it slips into those adenosine receptors, fitting perfectly, but it doesn't activate them. It just sits there, blocking adenosine from binding.
Oh. So the tiredness signal literally never gets delivered, or at least it's delayed?
Precisely. Your brain doesn't actually feel more energetic. It just stops receiving the signal that it is tired. This blocking action is what sustains focus, alertness, and wakefulness. And this effect is often combined with a simultaneous mild increase in the release of other neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, those feel-good motivation chemicals we mentioned earlier.
Right, the ones vitamin C helps make.
Exactly. So coffee provides this powerful, multifaceted lift blocking fatigue and boosting mood and motivation, which is obviously critical for getting through intense work periods or just starting the day.
And like some of the other foods, fatty fish, leafy greens, there seems to be a significant long-term protective aspect to coffee too, right? It's beyond just the morning buzz.
Extremely significant, according to a large body of research. Dozens of epidemiological studies, cohort studies following large populations over decades, consistently link moderate, regular coffee consumption, we're talking unsweetened, black coffee primarily to a notably lower risk of developing several severe neurodegenerative diseases, most prominently Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease.
Wow. Lower risk of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. That's huge.
It is. The exact mechanisms aren't fully mapped out, but it's thought that the combination of caffeine itself plus the multitude of powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds naturally present in coffee beans offer decades of prophylactic or preventative benefits for brain health.
Okay, but here comes the crucial caveat, and this is where the practicality really matters. The sources universally mandate moderation. Why is that sweet spot generally cited as 1 or maybe 2 cups a day so specific? What happens if you go way beyond that?
That sweet spot is really determined by the dose-response curve and the onset of adverse effects. When you go beyond 1 or 2 average cups for most people, though individual tolerance varies greatly, you start to overwhelm the system.
I see.
You get excess stimulation of the central nervous system. This leads pretty quickly to that feeling of anxiety, restlessness, jitteriness, sometimes even heart palpitations, all of which are completely counterproductive to calm, sustained focus.
Right, being jittery doesn't help you concentrate.
Not at all. Furthermore, heavy chronic consumption can lead to tolerance, meaning you need more and more to get the same effect, and also dependence. And ultimately, when the caffeine finally does clear those adenosine receptors after heavy use, the resulting crash can be much harsher, leaving you feeling even more fatigued than before. So that recommendation of 1 or 2 cups is generally seen as scientifically calibrated to provide the maximum cognitive benefits, the adenosine blockage, the mood lift, the potential long-term protection, while minimizing those detrimental side effects of nervous system distress.
Moderation is key. Got it. Okay, our final item, number 10, contrasts perfectly with coffee. Green tea. The sources call it calm focus in a cup. Now, if coffee gives you that powerful jolt mainly by blocking tiredness, how does green tea manage to provide clarity and focus without that same kind of intensity or potential jitters?
The magic ingredient, or perhaps the most unique component in green tea responsible for this effect, is an amino acid called L-theanine.
L-theanine, okay.
L-theanine works synergistically, meaning it works together beautifully with the modest amount of caffeine that is naturally present in green tea, which is typically much lower than in coffee. But L-theanine does something very different from caffeine. It doesn't just block fatigue signals. Instead, it readily crosses the blood-brain barrier and directly influences brainwave activity.
Brainwaves, like alpha, beta, gamma.
Exactly. Specifically, L-theanine has been shown to increase the production of alpha brainwaves.
And what are alpha waves associated with?
Alpha brainwaves are typically dominant when you're in a state of relaxed yet alert wakefulness. Think about the kind of focused attention you might experience during meditation, or when you're deeply absorbed in a task in a state of flow. It's calm, but highly aware. L-theanine promotes this alpha wave activity, creating a sense of deep relaxation without inducing drowsiness.
Ah, okay. So you combine L-theanine's calming alpha wave promoting effect with that small amount of caffeine providing gentle alertness. And the result is this unique mental state where you're highly attentive, focused, maybe even have quicker reaction times, but you feel completely calm, centered, and free of any jitters or anxiety.
That's precisely the combination that creates the state often described as calm focus. It's why monks historically used green tea during long meditation sessions. And there's more. Like coffee and dark chocolate, green tea is absolutely packed with potent antioxidants, particularly a class called catechins, with EGCG being the most famous one.
Right, EGCG. Hear about that a lot.
These catechins mirror the protective actions of the flavonoids we discussed, fighting free radicals, reducing inflammation, protecting brain cells from damage. But perhaps one of the most interesting neurological findings related specifically to green tea and memory is emerging research suggesting that regular consumption may actually improve functional connectivity between different regions of the brain.
Improves connectivity, like the different parts of the brain are talking to each other more efficiently.
That seems to be the idea. Better communication pathways between, say, the frontal cortex, involved in decision-making, and the hippocampus memory center. This kind of structural enhancement is thought to significantly improve processes like long-term memory retrieval and formation. So green tea isn't just about calm focus now. It's potentially about building a better connected brain for the long run. It really emerges as perhaps the ideal beverage for sustained cognitive clarity, learning, and long-term protection. Hashtag synthesis and key takeaways. So if we take a step back now and try to connect all these dots, look at the bigger picture. What really emerges isn't just a random list of 10 superfoods. It's actually a much more cohesive nutritional strategy for the brain.
Yeah, I see that now.
We've identified foods that target specific, yet complementary needs within the brain's ecosystem. You've got the builders, the defenders, the enhancers, and the real success, the optimal performance, likely comes from their synergistic effect, how they work together.
Right. We started by securing that crucial omega-3 structure with fatty fish, then reinforced the cellular messaging systems with choline from eggs, made sure the oxygen delivery was optimal with avocados, and started slowing the aging clock with the vitamin E and ALA in nuts. That was the foundation.
Foundational integrity.
Then we brought in the defense force, the unparalleled toxin-neutralizing power of blueberries, the crucial antioxidant and neurotransmitter support from vitamin C in oranges, and that incredible resilience, potentially 11 years younger, provided by the daily armor of leafy greens.
Building that defensive wall.
And finally, we layered on the performance enhancers. Dark chocolate for that potential boost in plasticity and learning, coffee for that sharp, sustained alertness when needed, and green tea for that smooth, calm, focused state ideal for deep work or learning.
Exactly. And notice how the structural components, the healthy fats and the defensive components, all those antioxidants, they really provide the necessary hardware and the stable operating environment for the more stimulant-like boosters, coffee, chocolate, tea, to work their subtle magic effectively without causing undue cellular stress or burnout. It all fits together.
So our mission here was to provide you, the learner listening, with the absolute shortcut to the highest impact foods identified across the sources. And the underlying message seems to be consistency, right? The brain is, as you said, the most metabolically demanding organ. It needs consistent care, not just intermittent attention when we feel foggy.
That is absolutely the practical takeaway. Consistency is king. The recommendation that emerges is to aim to actively, consciously incorporate at least 3 or 4 of these 10 categories into your daily meals and snacks. Don't try to do everything at once, maybe, but look for opportunities. Start with the foundational elements, perhaps get some healthy fats, get those greens in daily, and then strategically integrate the boosters that fit your needs and lifestyle.
And the expected results, if someone commits to this consistently, it should be pretty profound. Based on what we've discussed, this isn't just about feeling slightly less tired.
No, it's potentially much more than that. The sources suggest you should expect tangible improvements over time. Better processing speed, sharper memory recall, less of that tip of the tongue frustration, heightened focus during critical tasks, maybe faster learning, and potentially a more stable, balanced mood overall because you're supporting those neurotransmitters. You are literally fueling your command center for optimal, sustained success across all areas of life.
You know, as we wrap up, I just keep coming back to that incredible finding from the Rush University study. The 11-year difference with leafy greens.
Exactly. That those daily servings conferred cognitive protection seemingly equivalent to being 11 years younger functionally. It really forces us to reconsider what aging even means at a biological level, especially in the brain. And it leads to a rather provocative final thought for our listeners to consider. Given the profound, measurable impact that consistent nutritional interventions, focusing specifically on these kinds of top-tier, brain-supportive food categories, appear to have on maintaining structural integrity, reducing inflammation, and providing antioxidant protection, it really raises an important question, doesn't it? Could consistent, targeted dietary change actually be the single most effective, accessible, and powerful preventative measure we currently possess against the natural processes of cognitive aging itself, maybe even more impactful than many other things we focus on?
That's a powerful question to end on. It really reframes food not just as fuel, but as medicine, as preventative maintenance for the most vital part of who we are. Food is far more than sustenance. It truly is a direct investment in the operational capacity and lifespan of your brain. Feeding your brain well, based on everything we've unpacked today, is quite simply one of the smartest, most impactful decisions you can make for your entire future. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the blueprint for peak cognitive performance.